want to call the October 26th East Greenbush, getting ahead of myself, East Greenbush Central School District Board of Education meeting to order. Present this evening, Ms. Komarski, Mr. Mann, myself, Ms. Curtin, Ms. Taylor, Ms. Steinbeck. Other three board members aren't available tonight. So with that, if you could please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. The flag is over here. It's a republic for which the nation, liberty and justice. Thank you, everyone. So it's always a special treat to come to the school and have our meeting right in Janae Auditorium and to have a presentation. And to kick off our agenda this evening, we do not have the Student Council from Columbia. So with that, I will turn it over to Mr. Grignon and his presentation.
Thank you. Welcome to Janae Board of Education and Central Office. It's wonderful to have you back here. I just want to point out our brand new windows as part of the Capital Works project. It's fantastic. I know our students are really excited about it. And also the students, just so the board knows, is really excited about our brand new bathrooms too. Those are real nice too. There's still some work to do in here, but if you ever have an opportunity, you want to stop by during the day, you'd be amazed as to how much sunlight is now coming into the auditorium, which is really fantastic. Almost the point that we don't want to put the drapes back up. But yeah. We're here tonight, and I want to say hello to all our fifth grade parents who showed up. Thank you so much for coming out and supporting our students this evening. But I just wanted to take this moment and just say that, you know, Janae Elementary School is very proud of what we do here and what we accomplish and working for all of our kids. But more importantly, we're also really honored tonight to host the Board of Education meeting, which is Board Appreciation. It's a wonderful time of year that the community and our administrative team, the teachers, and our school communities can actually thank all of you that put in timeless amount of energy and hours and everything that you do, that sometimes it can be considered a thankless job. And also, just so everyone knows, they're not paid for this. So they're volunteering their time to be here to work with our central office, our superintendent of schools, Mr. Simons, and putting together a great educational opportunities for all of our students, K through 12. So let's give them a round of applause as well for everything that they do. And I was joking with some of the administrators that I've been in the district now for 10 years, and I've only done this particular appreciation once in 10 years. So I'm hoping that it'll be another 10 years and I can come up with another great idea for the next time. But tonight, myself and my team, we went around and we talked to our students here at Janae, all the way from our pre-K program, all the way to fifth grade. And we asked the students if they knew what the Board of Education does. So I want to put together this video for you. So sit back and enjoy. All of our parents, our community members that are here, a little appreciation for you.
Hey Chase and the Bickle girls, what do you think the Board of Education does, or what's their job?
Help people.
They help people?
In charge of everyone in the world.
In charge of everyone in the world? What do you think?
Help people if they get hurt.
Excellent. Hey Matthew and Cassidy, what do you think the Board of Education does? What's their job?
Keeping to help.
Keeping to help what?
The school.
The school?
I know, the American flag.
They're in charge of the American flag?
Yeah.
Very cool. What do you think, Matthew?
The classrooms.
The classrooms, and how do they help classrooms?
I think they just help people.
Very. Hey Brett, what do you think the Board of Education does?
It tells you how students are doing and how they're doing in school.
Hey Ivy, what do you think the Board of Education does?
The Board of Education provides for different schoolings, and they help out schools so children can come to school, have fun with their friends, and also be learning at the same time and have a good time.
All right. Hi Owen, hi Iris. What do you think the job of the Board of Education is? What do you think, Owen?
teachers are in charge of the principal sometimes.
You think the Board of Education is in charge of the principals?
Yes.
What do you think, Iris?
I think it too.
You think it too? Hey, Josh, what do you think the Board of Education does?
I think the Board of Education helps plan the fundraisers and helps raise money up for the school and plan fun ideas.
Hey, Morgan and Coven, what do you think the Board of Education does?
I think that they take care of a different school.
Okay.
I think they take care of kids when they're sad.
Hey, Elise, what do you think the Board of Education does?
I think it helps improve the schools and buy new things for us.
Hi, Emma, what do you think the Board of Education does?
They help people
How do they help people?
if they have the emergency.
Aw, thank you. Hey, Mr. Meltz, what do you think the Board of Education does?
I think the Board of Education gives us funding for all the programs we do, like the book fair and gym and all like band, and they help make good choices for our school.
Hey, Luke, what do you think the Board of Education does?
I think the Board of Education keeps the school good and have no bullies in it.
Hey, Prince, what do you think the Board of Education does for our school?
They should do more fun stuff.
Like what?
Like they should. It's so hard. They should do more kind stuff and stuff, like to be helping kids.
Ms. Van Dorn, what do you think the Board of Education does?
I think it does that it helps people if they're having a hard time and if they're struggling, if they're new here. And I think that they're going to go to the auditorium and help students do something that they might have never done to help them.
Hey, Mr. Sawyer, what do you think the Board of Education does?
I think it does like multiplication and all the adding and division.
Hey, Amos, what do you think the Board of Education does?
Well, they do a bunch of different things to our school, like field trips, and probably also getting us new supplies. And I'm sure they also will have some help with what the teachers actually teach us in class.
Excellent. Hey, Layla, what do you think the job of the Board of Education is?
I think it's to like tell people your ideas and like to make the school better.
Hey, Colby, what do you think the job of the Board of Education is?
Like, Nikki does the fighting in Janae Elementary School.
So you think the board does dividing for the school district? All right. Hey, Amelia, what do you think the Board of Education does?
I think it helps our school like like everyone have a better classroom and everyone having fun and have the best school years.
Hey, Keegan, what do you think the job of the Board of Education is?
Making sure all the schools are safe.
Hey, Jack, what do you think the Board of Education does?
I think they run all the schools in the East Greenbush Central School District.
And what do you mean by they run all the schools?
Like they're in charge of them.
Hey, Bryce, what do you think the Board of Education does?
I think the Board of Education helps the school be a better place.
Hey, everybody, what do you think the job of the Board of Education is?
Cleaning.
Nailed that answer. And just another quick point of view, the one student, his name was Amos. He came to us right before COVID hit, and he came to us from Finland, and he spoke no English. So the fact that, and it was actually his idea, he came up to me and he said, Mr. Grignon, I want to pretend that I'm walking, and I want you to point it up at me, and like he's a cinematographer. Like it was really cute. So let me get the next part ready. I've always kind of wanted to be the man behind the curtain, so And as a special treat for the Board of Education, we have members of our 5th grade class that are going to sing a song for you. And of course, this would not be possible without the wonderful support of our music teacher, Mrs. Scalero. Let's give her a round of applause. Thank you so much to our 5th graders that are able to come out tonight. And thank you to all the parents who allowed your child to be here this evening. They do not get out of school tomorrow, I'm sorry. So they do have to report back. But as the song said to the Board of Education, thank you for being a friend to the East Greenbush Central School District. Your time, your devotion to everything that you do, and the planning and the budget work and all of those tireless efforts that get put into it really makes East Greenbush a wonderful place, not only to work, but also more importantly for our children. So thank you and have a great evening.
So it's a tremendous performance from our fifth grade chorus. Always great to come to the school and, like I said earlier, to have those activities and to listen to the kids and other things they're doing. So we're going to move to our next part of our agenda. There are going to be refreshments to break after our next presentation. Mr. Simons, you want to introduce the next topic?
So at this time, I'd like to invite our Assistant Director of Pupil Personnel Services, Kara Harrington, and a team from our Special Education Support Group to come forward to recognize and nominate a special award that is given annually to our Special Educator of the Year.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Scott Lagoy. I'm the district CSE chairperson. Before we get to tonight's recipient, wanted to talk about who Mary P. Vanderzee Special Educator Award tonight, who this person was. Mary P. Vanderzee had been the Director of Pupil Personnel Services and chairperson of the Committee on Special Education at the East Greenbush Central School District from 1988 to 1992. She was known to be an effective advocate for students with special needs throughout her career and guided the development of special education services in the district. Mary was highly regarded by parents and the staff at the East Greenbush School District and in neighboring districts. After leaving the East Greenbush School District, she was the director of the Office of Services to Students with Disabilities at the College of St. Rose in Albany for 10 years. At the College of St. Rose, she had a profound impact on the college preparation of many aspiring teachers, quite a few of whom have come to work for East Greenbush School District. Mary P. Vanderzee died in July 2002. The Mary P. Vanderzee Special Educator of the Year Award was initiated by the Special Needs Parent Support Group in September 2002 in honor of Mary, to recognize the efforts of people in the school district who go above and beyond the call of duty to work with students with special needs.
So now we're going to turn it over to Catherine Mayfield and Michelle McDonald to announce the recipient of the award for the 21-22 year school year.
Thank you, Kara. I'd like to just introduce the folks to my left. This is my daughter, Melina McDonald, her dear friend, Amelia, and Catherine Mayfield, Amelia's mother. I have prepared remarks because I don't want to go offline and, lament that the Yankees got clobbered, etc. So we'll just, we'll keep on speech. Good evening. I'm Michelle Germain McDonald, the co-chair of the Parent Support Group for Students with Disabilities. Wow. What a wonderful opportunity to recognize our Miss Corey as the winner of the prestigious Mary P. Vanderzee Special Educator of the Year Award and honor her commitment to our students for the past 9 years. A little story. Our daughter Melina started at Janae in the K through first grade communication skills program, went back to her home school, Green Meadow, for second and third grades. The district wanted her to go to yet another elementary school, Belltop, for her fourth and fifth grades. We questioned 3 elementary schools for 1 student, so we said, how about going back to Janae? They worked with us and created a new communication skills program for students in the 3rd and 5th grades. And eventually, they shared the exciting news about hiring a superstar from Chicago. Little did we know that we'd be standing here with that superstar from the Windy City 9 years later, our own Miss Corey. Miss Corey's Facebook posts are always an inspiration to me and many others. On September 9th, she wrote in part, her classroom theme is this year, organized, loving, and a safe place to learn and grow. Ms. Corey has an uncanny ability to capture the hearts and minds of her students. She uses countless tips, tricks, and techniques for each student to reimagine and maximize their learning capabilities. I'd like to share a quick example of these. Art class. These students often have difficulty attending art class for the many disruptions and noises, voices, and small motor skill coordination issues. Melina was struggling in art for all of these reasons. Ms. Corey talked with us and John, my husband over here, and we said to her, why are there no modifications in the IEP for art class? She took it a step farther and spoke with the art teacher at the time and worked out some modifications for those students. 9 years later, those modifications are still in place. Meanwhile, Ms. Corey also wrote a storybook about a young girl who goes to art class and all the things she might experience there and strategies to cope. Ms. Corey read that book to our Melina every time before she went to art class. Until our Melina felt comfortable there. That, ladies and gentlemen, is one special educator. Ms. Corey captured the artistic side of her students by engaging them in team building plays where every student was an actor and actress and had lines to memorize and could invite their parents and friends to the shows. Bravo, bravo to our teacher thespian for offering these students such an awarding activity. The influence of a good teacher can never be erased. Another Facebook post I loved from a parent of a student of Miss Corey's. She is still a force in Melina's and Amelia's lives, as she is in so many other students. She attends Melina's performances, and we attend her performances as well. We will let Melina tell you more about this. You know, some people just make you feel better when you're around them. They are sunshine for your soul and medicine for your mind. Another Facebook post I captured from her. That, ladies and gentlemen, epitomized the grace and dignity our Miss Corey showers us with. Finally, I close with this quote from Miss Corey. Every hard day is worth it, every single time. Alongside that post is the handwritten note from her student that says, I love school. I love you, Miss Corey. That, ladies and gentlemen, is one of the many reasons Miss Corey, Miss Corey, was selected as the Mary P. Vanderzee Special Educator of the Year. Our deepest heartfelt congratulations. Now I'd like to introduce my daughter Melina to recognize her teacher.
Miss Corey. When I met her in the 4th grade. I love learning.
I loved learning from her because her classroom was
Magical. She made learning fun. As a bonus, she taught us how to act in classroom plays. And our parents were invited. I was the, we were, nope, we did the first Thanksgiving and the Wizard of Oz. I was the turkey. Gobble, gobble. And the Good Witch. After fifth grade graduation, Miss Corey and I stayed in touch. She would come to my plays at Sci-Fi, Goth, Columbia, and the Hose Musical Hall. We would also go to her plays. I feel really lucky to have her as a teacher. And as my friend. Congratulations, Miss Corey. I love you so much.
Okay, so I got a tough act to follow, right? Okay. I'm just gonna let we talked about the plays that Miss Corey used to do with the kids, and this actually was, my daughter was the Cowardly Lion in that play, and she still holds on to this Wizard of Oz. And I'm gonna leave it to my my daughter Amelia here to tell you the story. It's a quick story about how the influence that you had on her life. And Michelle and I run the parents group for children with special education, and we hope to get more parents involved in that group. I think we had 20-something parents the other night participate in the group. But parents coming in with their children in elementary school are really sometimes very lost. They're grieving that their children are not, in many ways, doing the things that other children are doing. And they really are looking for some answers. And I'll tell you, I was in their shoes. I know Michelle was in their shoes. And I just tell you the amazing story of my daughter and where she's at today. And when we were nominating someone for this role, and both our children are seniors this year, so they're graduating. And we just had to make sure we went out with a bang for someone who inspired us to do what we do for other parents. So I am going to turn it over to Miss Amelia Rizzo for what she wrote for you.
Dear Board of Director and Mr. Simon, thank you for letting me speak here tonight about what Miss Corey means to me. My name is Amelia Rizzo, and I'm a senior at Columbia High School. I was a student in Miss Corey's class when I was in 4th and 5th grade. Before I was in Miss Corey's class, it was bad and I was having a hard time learning in school. I felt like I was behind everyone and I didn't have any friends. I felt like everyone hated me because I was small and I didn't fit in. I had to take all this standardized tests and I have ADHD. I could not concentrate and they only gave me a short time to do tests. I was very stressful. When I met Miss Corey, she helped me out. She would explain things to me, what I was supposed to do. She always was by my side. Miss Corey helped me when I was upset and I felt calm and I loved her. When I left Miss Corey's class, she stayed in touch with me and we would meet and Melina for breakfast at Friendly's to see how we were doing. Miss Corey was a great teacher and she made me like school again. She helped me make friends and they are still my friends today. Now I am mainstream in regular classes at Columbia High School. I play on the tennis team for 4 years. I play on the unified bowling and basketball team. I am on high honor roll almost every report card, and I have never missed school. I just signed up for Hudson Valley College for next year. I work at Spirit and Cracker Barrel. I think, oh my God, I can't speak. I can't speak today, I'm tired. I thank Miss Corey for helping me love school. I love you, Miss Corey. Amelia.
Corey, would you come up? On behalf of the parents of the Special Education Support Group and the East Greenbush School District, we present you with the Mary P. Vanderzee Special Educator of the Year Award.
Hey, everybody. Wow, that is a challenging act to follow. It is truly an honor to accept this award, and I am deeply thankful to the families who nominated me and the committee who selected me. I would also like to extend my gratitude to the many administrators and coworkers who have mentored me, supported me, and taught me so much during my time with East Greenbush. Being a special educator is the most fulfilling career I could possibly have chosen. And I continue to feel grateful for being guided down this path throughout my own educational journey. When people ask me why I chose education, and specifically special education, and specifically why I chose to work in a special classroom, the answer is easy. The students are incredible. My students work harder than you could possibly imagine every single day, and there is nothing more exciting and rewarding than watching them achieve successes. All gains are celebrated in our classroom, small and large alike. And though my job is to teach them, I will never forget the many times that my students have taught me about my own character, determination, and empathy. Bearing witness to my own students' resilience and perseverance is like receiving a motivational speech multiple times a day. I know how lucky I am to be part of something that is so special and life-giving. Thank you, East Greenbush, for the opportunity to teach the best students I know. I am so grateful to be part of this wonderful district.
So that was pretty awesome, huh? Thank you so much for sharing that moment with the board and for presenting the award to our teacher. So, and to students here and their moms, thank you for sharing those stories. And I know that was challenging to get up there and do that, but you did a great job. So thank you again for that. So we're going to take, we have some refreshments, right, Mr. Garino? We're going to take a short break and celebrate both our 5th grade and I guess our board and the award this evening. So let's take about 10 minutes and we have some things in the back for refreshment. So, okay. We're now going to move to the approval of draft minutes. Looking at the agenda and attendance, it looks like we may have to move this to the next meeting because I think 3 folks here were not at the last board meeting. So we'll not there, Joanne and Michelle. So that leaves only 3 of us to vote on this. So we'll move it to the next agenda. Okay, Linda. Next, we go to our board forum. I'll start on my right with Emily. Anything? Okay. Joanne. Okay. Kathleen. While you finish your pie, we'll come back to you. Okay.
Pie's delicious.
Mark. Good. Michelle.
No, thank you for all the presentations tonight. I have to tell Wayne that he's going to be a hard act to follow. He did amazing. So good luck next year, people.
Okay. And I don't have anything at this time. Now we'll move to our public forum. Residents, students, employees, and business representatives of the East Greenbush Central School District may address the board on matters concerning programs and/or operations of the district, other than matters involving personnel. Members of the board do not directly respond to citizen concerns in the public forum. If a response is appropriate, either the president or superintendent will contact the individual in the near future. Those persons wishing to address the board will be recognized by the chair of the meeting and should state their record, their name, address, or affiliation with the district or business. While the board does not wish to infringe upon free speech protections, it must be stressed the visitors forum is not deemed to be an open forum. The board president will conduct the forum for the orderly and efficient operation of board business. In addition, any remarks which may be considered defamatory or stigmatizing are prohibited and will be declared out of order. All comment shall be limited to 5 minutes. Is there anyone who'd like to address the board this time? Yes, sir. You can come to the mic if you want.
Good evening. My name's Anson Mioski. My father was class of 1946. My two boys will be classes of 27 and 29. I'm a former middle school teacher from the Troy School District, and I've spent the last 16 years working with BOCES in service of a number of districts. I'm here tonight to talk about the Washington, D.C. trip from golf. The trip has been a staple of golf for at least 30 years. I was part of the trip back in 1989. Washington, D.C., it's a special place. It combines the history of the country and today. It's our capital. There's nothing else like it. At the height of the pandemic, I understood why trips were canceled. I get it. It made sense. I was hoping with things turning back to normal, maybe the spring of 23, we'd get to go again. I've heard that it's unlikely that that will happen this year. And I was a little disappointed that I heard that it was unlikely that it was going to happen through social media. I reached out to Jill Barker, the principal at Goff, came away from that discussion extremely impressed with her. She was thoughtful, concise, professional, had wonderful reasons as to, or a wonderful explanation for what was going on and what the thinking was. And I get it. There's a sub shortage. And the costs for everything are going up. And the pandemic has made us look at how we'd handle health incidents on an extended trip a little differently. And these are all big things, real concerns. But I don't think they're insurmountable. And I think the value of this trip still would outweigh the effort that would have to be put in to overcome these things. Beyond the items that I just mentioned, we talked a little bit more about the challenges. I taught 8th grade. Challenges of corralling this herd of cats through Washington, D.C. I get it. It's a challenge. And I know that there's some parents out there that aren't comfortable having their kids go on an overnight trip like this. I get it. But while I do get it, those reasons, I feel like we're shrinking away from something if we say, well, you know, we're going to go a safer, easier route, such as I know it's been planned, the trip for Boston. I love Boston. It's a beautiful place. I go there often. It's not Washington, D.C. It's just not. Tonight, I'm asking you for your support and also offering my own support, anything that I can do to help this happen. If not this year, maybe next year or the year after. I'd like to be a part of the solution moving forward, and I'm hoping that you'll join me in that. Like I mentioned, when my boys go through here, it's going to be the 3rd generation through Columbia. My dad was here. I was at the new building. You know, we bleed this district. We bleed East Greenbush. Great districts do great things. Great administrators find a way. And great communities stand up when they need to and, you know, offer what they can. The Washington trip it's too valuable to let go. I'm confident together we can find a way moving forward to continue this trip and to continue to offer this amazing experience to our students. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Okay. Anyone else want to speak to the board? No. Seeing none, we'll go to the reports and presentations of the superintendent.
Yes, I just want to also, on behalf of the central administration, extend my thanks for our Board of Education's continued support and service to the community. I've said in the past that being a school board member is a great opportunity to lead and to be at the local level where you're interacting with students, where you're interacting with the community. But many tough decisions face the boards of education that may not face other types of elected bodies. You are with the parents, the students, the families every day and interacting at a different level than other elected officials do. And you do it very well. You do it with always having a focus on the students, always weighing all the different factors involved in any particular difficult decision. And you continue to support what's best for the East Greenbush School District. And I greatly support and appreciate what you do for me and what you do for our district and the community as a whole. So thank you for your service.
Thank you, Mr. Simons. I just want to make a comment because I've been on the board 9 years. We have board members who've been here many years beyond that. New board members kind of in between, right, Michelle and Mark. And, you know, for me, board service is very special. I want to thank my family for supporting me and being a board member, because really without them, it makes it very difficult to meet the challenges and time that has to be put in. But really this evening's celebration, to see the kids, the students, to see faculty being recognized, to see the students who speak, who were so wonderful. And that's why it makes it so special to be a board member, and to see those pieces and know that in your heart you're doing the things for the children, the community, and the families. And it's just a wonderful experience when you get that. And it's as many challenges we went through the last few years as everyone did, getting back to this kind of activity and seeing the things that you do for us as a board really is very special. So I want to thank you and the community and the people here for that. So thank you again. So back to you, Mr. Simons. Unless anybody else wants to say anything? Comments? Okay. Thank you.
Our second topic is just an update. The board had asked for us to continue to update the board on any discussions that are occurring related to future capital projects. One of the issues that we have prioritized is to review options that might be available to provide a second access road to the Columbia High School campus. This has been a discussion that's occurred for at least more than a decade, and we are engaging with the town of East Greenbush, as well as various officials, including Greenbush Associates, the owner of the tech park off of Mannix Road, to see if we can't find a way to construct and provide another road out of the campus that would lead through the tech park into Mannix Road. There were a couple of options that we discussed. The owners of the Greenbush Associates were present at the meeting. They indicated an openness to working with the district for emergency access. We were hoping that a secondary road would also provide for everyday use. We expressed our desire to work with them to find a solution. The town of East Greenbush had done some work last year in providing an easement for the high school to be able to, in an emergency, enter into Tech Valley Drive, but we want to go further than that and have a permanent solution. Some of the properties owned by the tech park are planned for future development. Some of that future development is associated with Regeneron expansion. There's a building that was recently purchased by Regeneron, and so our next conversation will be with Regeneron to see what their openness might be to us working with them, the tech park, the town, to provide another road. We're in very preliminary stages of this. We don't have all of our questions even developed yet. We don't know whether this would involve a simple easement arrangement or some other type of arrangement where the district would have to include construction related to the road into a capital project. It's just a very preliminary conversation with people that own the land about what our goals are, and they've been willing to be a partner in the discussions. Again, our next follow-up is with Regeneron.
Oh, good. Any questions on the topic? No? Thank you, Mr. Science. Moving to the next item is our discussion items. We have two of those, the board goals and then a proposed budget calendar and district vote. So I had an opportunity to meet with Mr. Simons and Mr. Stiles, and we wanted to present just some preliminary draft visioning for 22-23, and I can kind of hand it off to you, Mr. Stiles. Sure.
So one of the things that the board has been discussing, both in our retreat and also through other avenues, we've had discussions over the course of the last year or two, as we have been returning to normal procedures and operations within the district. The board is really interested in continuing to advance our district by supporting innovative, future-driven teaching and learning environments and leadership practices within the district. So Mr. Stiles and I had a conversation about a program sponsored by AASA, which is the American Administrators School Association, called Vision 2025. Dr. Daggett, who is associated with that Vision 2025, will be in the region on November 5th and be presenting a workshop for BOCES, Questar BOCES district leaders, school board members, and teacher leaders. The idea of future-driven education is a principal emphasis within the 2025 initiative. We've learned a lot, having gone through the pandemic, about not only the academic needs of the kids now, but what we're preparing our kids for in the future. Jobs that we don't even know about right now and jobs that don't even exist. And so one of our goals is to promote that innovative, future-driven teaching and learning and leadership environment within our district to ensure that our kids in the future not have the knowledge and skills that we needed going through school, but the knowledge and skills that they will need to be successful. So that's our first recommended goal under the principle of future-driven education, is to support innovative, future-driven teaching, learning, and leadership practices which prepare our students with the knowledge and skills they require for future success. Again, this is a draft. Underneath there, we have ensuring that all of our school leaders, our teachers, and our staff implement practices which involve students in acquiring technology skills, critical thinking skills, communication skills, and problem-solving skills. We also have been starting some conversations with our middle school community, and our board wants to support continued support, direction, and future-oriented instruction within our middle school. As I've talked with middle school faculty, one of the things they have shared with me is that they often feel like more attention needs to be given to the middle level. Okay, we have kids at the elementary school level who progress through the 5th grade, and then they go through this very challenging period of time, both socially and academically, from the time they enter 6th grade to the time that they are ready to enter high school. And over the course of time, the middle school, in some ways, has struggled with what its identity is. Is it a junior high? Is its goal to prepare students to be ready for high school? Or is it to make sure that the curriculum, the instruction, the opportunities, including the extracurricular activities for the kids, are centered on the research on best practices for middle level education, or a blending of the both? So we've had conversations with the leadership team. We think that the middle school should be a priority within our goals, and we want to have a stakeholder-driven initiative to look at the best practices that are out there among middle schools and to bring those practices to Goff Middle School. And our teacher leaders and our administration there, as part of their school improvement process, I had a chance to come and talk to them about this. So middle school would be an emphasis under the first goal. And third, you've talked to me about making sure that our capital project includes ensuring that our learning environments are future-driven, focused on not only the classrooms, but the extracurricular spaces, including our fields. So We want to make sure that we develop and implement our facilities plans that provide future-driven teaching, learning, and extracurricular environments for students and educators. So that's our first pass at this. We think it captures much of what we talked with the board about at the retreat and in other conversations. We think it also captures some of the themes that we spoke to our faculty and staff about on opening day. So I'll pause there and take any comments or questions you might have about the first goal under future-driven education.
Any preliminary comments or questions? And we'll have an opportunity to give feedback afterwards as well, and at the meeting, and then as we progress through this process. Okay. So, I mean, I think that it just said it did capture, it's inclusive. It talks about really looking forward to, you know, what's the next phase of how we're going to prepare our students. So,
I'll let Mr. Stiles take the next one.
okay.
So our next core principle we're looking at is being whole learner focused, with a goal to meet the academic, social, emotional, cognitive, mental health, and trauma-based needs of all of our learners. You know, so we think, you know, coming off of a 2 or 3 years of some non-traditional type of education, making sure that we're identifying what our needs are for students academically as well as social emotionally. So underneath, we do have 5 bullets where we want to continue to implement curriculum and instructional practices to increase the percentage of our students demonstrating both proficiency and mastery on all New York State Regents exams. So that is geared towards our high school. We also want to increase the percentage of students in grades 3 through 8 that are scoring at level 3 and level 4 on the New York State ELA, mathematics, and science assessments. We want to develop and initiate a district-wide approach to social emotional learning. We want to elevate our pre-K and K-3 early intervention programs to develop sustainability and expansion plans. And we've talked about how important pre-K is, and really, discussing how can we make sure that that's something that's sustainable for the district and possibly even increasing to that. And then we want to develop and implement multi-tiered system of behavioral support for students, ensuring that struggling students and families remain connected to and feel supported by the educational community. So we really think it's important to identify all areas. We have the academic needs of students, we have the social emotional needs of students, and then we want to make sure that we're providing different levels of support throughout that process.
Great. Thank you, Roy. Any comments or questions at this point? And again, I think as we, just to reiterate what Roy said, coming out of the pandemic and really focusing on the mental health and social emotional needs of our students, we still have an obligation and responsibility to make sure we're doing the best practices, that we hold ourselves accountable. To our community, and our parents have high expectations about academics, and also with the pre-K and the K-3, really we know that the data shows that if we do the right things at those early learning grades, it'll mean success down the road. And that's really an important piece of that as well. So
our third core principle is safe, inclusive, and diverse educational community. We've done a lot of work with school safety, and we will continue to emphasize school safety. And we've been having a lot of conversations about the need to ensure that we continue to be an inclusive educational community and one that values diversity. So our goal is to promote practices which support a safe, welcoming culture where all, emphasis on all, children, families, and employees feel they belong and experience success. Underneath that, more specifically, we want to continue to evaluate and enhance our school safety practices in all of our schools and at all of our school-sponsored activities, our extracurricular activities on the bus, in the classrooms, and all of the activities that are associated with our educational process. We're always striving to enhance and improve. Some of the initiatives that we put in place that Mr. Mann, for example, encouraged us to look at this year, the vaping technology, the stop arm cameras on the buses, different things that we're trying to do to improve the infrastructure of the building, making sure we're having the meetings with the law enforcement agencies. That's all part of evaluating and enhancing school district practices on an ongoing basis. We also want to review the policies, practices, and school activities to make sure that we have an array of activities that make sure that everyone sees our school district as a culture of inclusion for all students and for all families. We have changes in the demographic population of our students. We have students and families that have different needs or differing needs. We want everybody not only to feel safe, but we want people to feel like they're a part of the East Greenbush School District, that they are important to the success of the school district. Third, we want to ensure that when we form groups, advisory groups, committees, PTOs, different groups that involve parents or guardians or caregivers, the adults that serve in the child's life, that we are recruiting for diversity, that we make sure that our parents, guardians, and caregivers that we choose to be on our school committee and invite to be on our school committee represent the true diversity of the East Greenbush Central School District. And falling into the category of human resources, and we talked about this at our retreat with Mike Ford, we want to explore different practices and initiatives to recruit, develop, and promote and support a more diverse and inclusive talent pipeline within our school district of leaders, educators, and support staff. We may need to broaden our sphere of influence. We may need to go outside the capital region to recruit talent to our district. This is a good time to do it because we have shortages. But we want our faculty, our staff, our leadership to reflect the demographics of the students and the families that we serve. And so we thought that that was an important objective within safe, inclusive, and diverse educational community. So this is our first pass at this. We know the board is maybe really hearing this review for the first time. We want the board to send us some comments or questions or ideas. We're hoping that by the last meeting in November, we can get these goals finalized and adopted by our board.
So let's take a look at the different items here. We'll also include in the board agenda, there's a 21-22 goals and strategic objectives. And we're kind of building on what we had before. There was some very specific things that we wanted to accomplish in the last year, but I think it's a little bit of a shift, I think, for us to look at it more of as a vision as opposed to an annual goals and objectives, combining the things we want to accomplish this year, but also thinking ahead. We do long range planning, we do our long range kind of looks at things, and this kind of gives us a look forward, kind of a guide later, guiding point for us to kind of shoot for and build around our budgets and the things that we want to accomplish as a district. So not losing sight of the specifics, but also think about how we project forward, what we want to do and be as a district moving forward as we come out of these different challenges and things that are happening in our communities and the shifts. So I think maybe some specificity there. One thing I looking back at the last year, continuing those partnerships is really important and building those relationships with community and families. I don't want to lose sight of that too. So maybe we can weave something about that in there too.
We thought that some of the specifics we would also flesh out in the scorecard document.
Okay.
Under the strategies as well. So you'd be able to see how that all lines up.
I think you guys did a great job this year in kind of summarizing it and making it as direct as possible. You still need some specificity in some of the areas, but most of it is very direct. It's very clear what we're trying to get to. And that's very helpful, I think. And I do like some of the focus on a couple of the goals that we haven't had before. So that's very much appreciative. So good job, I think.
And if anybody has any comments after reading these, want to give some thought to it, and let us know. This is not a final pass of this.
We should have seen the first draft, right?
Yeah, this was like our third iteration of this.
So thank you for the work on that, and we'll give you feedback in the next couple of weeks.
Are you going to make it pretty?
Oh,
Actually,
yeah.
we have Mark, Adam, and Bosie's working on it.
I thought Roy was in charge of that. Design.
I am in charge of that.
Okay.
I did give some thoughts, but in terms of computer design is not my strength. But we are working on that with Mark, Adam, and Bosie's to have something that has all the goals, but something that maybe is a little bit more concise and visually appealing, as to kind of market.
Yeah. I remember when Jeff presented at opening day, he had that kind of graphic.
Yeah.
Kind of the wraparound for the student and the things that we talked about. We're trying to incorporate some of those ideas and have this continuity of messaging through, from the start of school and then through, and how we can kind of capture those things as well.
Is the word goal going to remain on there? strategic vision?
Well, the word goal is in the 3 or 4 ones that we already have. It doesn't, I have no preference. I have no preference. We changed it to strategic vision because we felt like this is more than a 1-year thing.
Mhm.
And it all kind of aligns with that Vision 2025 initiative. So that was kind of our word choice, really. I think this is going to be a 3 to 5 year. If you think about the professional development, the curriculum aspects of this, the committee aspects of this, the recruitment aspects of this isn't all going to be something that could be done in 1 year. We take measured steps in year 1, year 2, year 3 to get to this. So we thought, because this was more of a long-term thing, that the strategic vision title fit a little bit better, but we still wanted to hold on to the idea that these were goals. These were things that the board was going to ask us to measure, to report out on. And so we tried to tie both of those things in.
And I think in the scorecard component, we can get very specific. If we want to get some things done this year, let's, speak to them as
Year 1,
goals
year
for-
2, year 3.
Yeah, like really specific
Right.
goals.
And that's where I was going. Is
Yeah.
I don't want to lock us into this for 3 years.
Right, right.
With that, when next year, okay, well, we're not going to do anything because we got this. The year after, we're not going to do anything because we still got this.
Mhm.
But a lot can change next year.
Absolutely, yeah.
A lot can change the year after, where the Board of Education may say, hey, we want this as a goal for next year or this year. So, I'm a proponent of calling it whatever.
Mhm.
I just don't want to see it locked in for 3 years. And then we can't change it.
We still envision that whole scorecard process where we meet a couple times a year would happen. We still envision that there would be an annual review of the goals. Modifications as necessary. So it wasn't necessarily to lock us in. It was just to give us more of a vision of a broader timeline. But that could be annually reviewed and annually adjusted. Or even not even annually, if we find that we're steering off course and we're not, something else becomes a bigger priority during a given year, we have the flexibility to be able to adjust it. It's the board's direction.
Good feedback. Thank you, Mark. All right. Anyone else? Okay. We'll move on to the proposed budget calendar and district vote.
Let's steer this one over to Linda Wager.
Thank you. So tonight you have the board, the budget calendar attached, which is in preparation for our 23-24 budget vote, which is going to take place on Tuesday, May 16th of 2023. So most of these dates are set by SED regulations and guidelines. We start with the budget vote date, and then we back up from there. So we have the public hearing date, when we mail the newsletter, the publication of the annual notice, availability of the budget packets for the public, board candidate petitions, availability, the petition due dates, the campaign statement dates. Those are all regulated. And then the budget revote date, which would be June 20th of 2023. So I've attached all of those dates for you here, and we've provided 2 different calendars for you. The first is as the dates on the different items that we have to address. And then the second calendar attached for you is in chronological order by date, so it's a little bit easier to read. But Mr. Simons and I will start to meet with the building administrators and department heads in the month of December. And then, and we will talk with the board about your priorities. And then at the December 21st, 2022 board meeting, we will review the admin priorities as well as your priorities.
Here, can you bring up the chronological one?
If we could put that up.
Thank you.
Then we will start our budget workshops on March 8th. Basically, we'll have 3 budget workshops. They'll take place on March 8th. We have March 15th scheduled and March 22nd scheduled. These are preliminary dates, and we can look to change them if need be. The budget adoption will take place on April 4th, which is a Tuesday. And the one change we made this year is to the budget hearing and presentation. We are recommending that this take place on May 3rd. This needs to take place between 7 and 14 days before the budget vote. So we are looking to move that. Instead of having a May 10th board meeting, we're looking to possibly change that to May 3rd. We'll have the board meeting and the budget hearing and presentation on that date. That is a Wednesday. I did want to mention to the board that that is scheduled to take place at Goff Middle School. We might want to look at changing the location of that. Sometimes we have an issue with the acoustics at the Goff Middle School cafeteria or gym. And so I looked at some other possible options. This location is one of those options, as well as our central admin boardroom or the CHS library where we've been before. So that's open to discussion. But basically, those are the dates that we'll really want to look at. And there are 3 board education seats that are expiring this year. They are Mr. Buno, Mr. Mann, and Mrs. Curtin.
Thank you.
Are there any questions?
So if you look at that calendar, I asked Lynn and Jeff to put this in a monthly because I see things that way. The planning part of this for us as board members, those workshops especially, they're not typically meetings where we do board business, but we'll focus on the budget, and they do come pretty quick in March. So you see March and April are pretty tight for us. So just please, if you're not able to make that, give your feedback on those budgets, and we'll need everyone's participation in that time. So just calendar those dates if there are no changes, and it'll be a busy spring. Right?
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Those who've been here a while know pretty standard, right? Okay.
So we were going to anticipate at the next board meeting that the board would approve the budget calendar.
Yeah. Now, you were talking about moving it to the, what was it, the Meet the Candidates night or something like that? Oh, I'm sorry, I missed it. From Goff?
Yeah, the date of the public hearing, is on May 3rd. So that is scheduled currently. The May 10th board meeting is currently scheduled to take place at Goff Middle School in the gym. And I recall us having some issues there as far as hearing, auditory issues. So we may want to consider either having it here in this location or our central admin boardroom or even the high school
I
library.
thought when we were in golf, we meet in the
cafeteria.
Although there
is a Friends of Music meeting for golf that evening in the cafeteria.
So this is fine.
We met in the gym last year because the individual,
that's
or
right.
2
That
years
was
ago, the
that's
individual furniture was all set up in the cafeteria
Yeah, they
because
like
the kids
that.
had to sit by themselves. Remember,
Yeah.
then we had the gym and it was hard to.
Yeah, I didn't hear that. Yeah, let's not go there. How about here? Here good? A lot of seats. It's nice.
Great.
Showcase our new. Yeah,
Okay.
perfect.
Thank you.
some light.
Some
Some
light.
coming in the window.
By the spring.
In May.
There you go. We'll move it here. How's that? Good? Yes,
Mike, I just want
Emily.
to say one thing.
Sure.
The budget workshops in March
Yes.
do fall on some holidays, and we should probably just be mindful of that moving
Yep.
forward, Ramadan and things. I'm not sure that they apply to folks here, but in an effort to,
Okay.
be respectful of other people.
Thank you. One of the things we try to do is because most folks block off Wednesdays forever, right? But very good. Good point. Thank you.
Or know who's going to be on the board next
That's right.
and what they celebrate.
Correct. Okay. Any other comments? All right, we'll move to regular business. The first item is the approval of programs for those and children with disabilities. Questions or comments? Motion approved. Michelle, second. Joanne? All those in favor? Approved. Now we have a chaperone rate establishment. Any comments here? Mr. Simons or anyone? Linda?
This is a standard thing that we have always done. Just the timing
Just doing it
of it is a
earlier.
little bit different.
Okay.
We plan on next year including this in our organizational meeting. These rates have been paid for a number of years for staff to chaperone dances. We just didn't get it on the agenda in time for the homecoming dances. So
Need a motion to approve that. Kathleen, need a second. Mark, all those in favor? Approved. The NISBA convention, this is a resolution to approve the board members who are attending the convention, which is tomorrow, and Cheryl's over there, right? Any questions on that? Need a motion to approve that. Joanne, second. Michelle, all those in favor? Approved. And the final item is the athletic placement program MOU with Wine and Skill. This allows a student who is transitioning to Columbia High School, right, Mr. Simons, from the middle school, and can participate in athletics with Columbia because they're committed to the high school.
That's correct.
Next year.
Okay. It's an eighth grader who is eligible under the athletic placement program to participate at the varsity level. And I believe it's track and field.
We have to have an agreement with the district.
That's correct. It is track. And the only difference to this contract, this was an agreement entered into by the board back in 17-18. And the only addition to it is item number 10, where they put a term on there of through June 30th of 2023, but this will automatically renew unless one of us, decide in writing to terminate it.
Okay, gotcha. All right. Get a motion to approve that. Kathleen, second. Emily, all those in favor? Approved. Moving on to committee reports. We'll start with Marissa.
Thank you, Mr. Bino. Our Director of People Personnel Service interviews were conducted on Wednesday, the 19th. And our committee was tasked with recommending candidates to move forward to the next round of interviews with our Superintendent of Schools, Mr. Simons. And I just wanted to thank all of the stakeholders on that committee for taking the time to serve on that committee. I value all of their input in the search for our next director of PPS. The HR generalist posting has closed, and my office is currently reviewing candidate resumes, and then we will be holding first round interviews. We recently had a reading teacher vacancy at Goff Middle School. That posting closes tomorrow. We have part-time teaching assistant positions at Columbia High School and Goff Middle School. Mr. Harkin and Mrs. Barker are working on conducting first round interviews. We will have a full-time teaching assistant position at Belltop come December. We have a retirement. That position has been posted for, and we're trying to recruit for that position early so that our students have a continuation of services with no gap. We have 3 monitor positions located at the elementary and secondary level that we're working on interviewing and recruiting for. Our cook interviews were conducted last week, and we have candidates that we're recommending for next round interviews, and we are working on their reference checks. We will be reposting our mechanic position and holding bus driver interviews tomorrow between 10 a.m. and noon. We're going to be interviewing about 6 candidates. And then on tonight's addendum, we have 2 school safety supervisors that we are recommending for appointment. These 2 school safety supervisors will be located at Goff Middle School, and each candidate has an extensive law enforcement background.
Any questions for Marissa? Okay. Thank you, Marissa.
Thank you.
Move on to Linda.
Thank you, Mr. Puno. On Monday, October 17th, we had a BRAC, a long-range facilities planning committee meeting. We had guests from the town of East Greenbush, Mr. Jack Conway, the supervisor, as well as Ms. Anna Feldman from the planning department. We also had guests from the town of North Greenbush, Mr. Joe Bott, the supervisor, as well as Mr. Mark Lasavita, who is from the planning department. Both sets of guests provided us with information on residential and commercial development projects that are taking place in the town. Especially in North Greenbush, there are some new apartments going up, Stonegate Apartments, as well as Partridge Hill Apartments. There are additional 24 apartments at each of these locations. And the Quackenberry Commons is a retail office, but it also has 253 apartments that are planned for that as well. And the Studo minor subdivision on Best Road that has 4 lots that are residential. So we talked a lot about that. In the town of East Greenbush, we have some residential development taking place. There is the Thompson Way subdivision. That's planned to have, as a plan to have 23 single-family residences. Currently, only 2 have been constructed. We also talked about the town center, which is at 580 Columbia Turnpike. That is going to be 78 apartment units and a mixed use as well with retail shops underneath. We talked about what effect does this have on our district, and more importantly, with the additional development that's taking place in North Greenbush, we talked about the effect that it has on some of the smaller school districts that are surrounding us, namely the Wine and Skill School District and the Little Red North Greenbush School District. So these are, as these projects progress, we will be talking about how does this affect our district, as well as they will be looking for how it's affecting some of those smaller school districts. And we will, at our next meeting, which is going to take place on November 7th, we will look at our current enrollment. We are inviting representatives from the town of Skodak, and we will have an update on our building condition survey. So there's a lot happening, and this will all be part of that things that we'll have to consider in our next capital project and the effect on our enrollment.
So, thank you, Linda. The meeting with the building condition survey review, when is that?
That's November 7th.
November 7th.
Which is our next BRAC meeting. We are in the process of setting up initial meetings to review our building condition survey, which we don't have the final report quite yet, but we do have a list of some items that we'll start to be looking at.
Any questions, comments? Thank you, Linda. A lot of growth and development, it sounds like.
Busy.
And then for people's benefit, the Little Red or North Greenbush is just K2, and Wine and Skill is K8. So they tuition their kids out to different school districts, and we're on the list. So that could impact our enrollment for substantially. Okay, thank you. Okay, moving on to Roy.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So I'm going to be reporting out on 2 committees. So on October 12th, our CCS committee met. We had 11 presentations from the summer curriculum projects. They briefly summarized what those projects were, how they went, and the outcomes of those. They were all did a really great job. We had 2 that were unable to make our October meeting, so they will be sharing out at our November meeting. Also got some updates on our program reviews. So Mr. Jones for athletics discussed that he has a very large committee of about 50 members for that program review, and they're revising the mission statement to align with the athletic code of conduct. And at the November meeting, he'll be giving an update on that. Also for CTE, that group has already met 3 times. They are sharing out their mission statement and program goals, that along with the plan for implementation. And at the November meeting, they will be looking for endorsement on those 2 aspects. Also, World Languages has been working on their program review. They started looking at their mission statement and accomplishments and working on their goals, and they will be looking at the November meeting for endorsement on their mission statement and accomplishments. I briefly discussed with the committee that beginning next school year, the state is going to be moving towards computer-based testing for 3 through 8 students and exams, ELA, math, and science, and it'll be a 3-year rollout starting with 5th grade and 8th grade for the 23-24 year, and then 4th grade and so on. So we did have a little bit of discussion that, we will have to be looking at, some of our curriculum and, what adjustments we may have to make to ensure that our students are prepared for that. And then Lisa Mahar gave a brief update on our Renaissance Star beginning of the year screener that we did. That screener is given 3 times a year. And, I think as a whole, you'll see that the results from that screener have been very positive. The November, I think the second meeting in November, I'll be giving a little bit more detail on those results. And then I did give a little bit of a professional development update that at this point we have had, over 162 different PD opportunities that our teachers have taken advantage of, either within the district or outside the district. And again, I don't think a day goes by in the morning that I don't approve a new professional development opportunity. So our teachers are really taking advantage of all the different opportunities that are out there.
Right, just quick. So Mr. Jones' committee of 50 people, how does he manage that?
So he tries to make sure that he's getting input from all of the coaches. And the different members of the department. So I didn't get into it if he's meeting with all 50 at once or if he's meeting with different subgroups of that. So he, I think he's really excited about, some possible, updates and changes for that program review.
Okay. And those going to manage it. That's a lot of folks.
Yeah.
A lot of time. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
And then also on October 17th, we had a professional development committee meet. Gave a little bit of a summary of our professional development so far, and really the feedback from staff as a whole has been very, very positive. People, really like the balance between required professional development and having some choice, and also in person as well as some virtual. Got feedback from many of the members on that committee, and some themes that came out is that we've had a really great workshop on ENL students and how we can make sure we're continuing to support our ENL students, and really looking for more of that. We talked a little bit about our upcoming professional development days that are remaining in the school year. So on November 18th, we have a half-day professional development day, and I've been starting to work with the content coordinators and building principals and department chairs on that, what that will look like. And then also on March 17th, we will be participating in a regional professional development day. We talked a little bit about future planning and needs. So again, talking about balancing, required professional development and optional, and giving choice for people. And then something that I'm excited for, we've been working, with Questar and using some support with ELA to have embedded professional development. So, when we talk about professional development, I think we always go to our release days, our opening days, and our few half days in there, but really trying to utilize all of our time. So we have scheduled 2 days in each of our elementary schools where Lisa Mahar is working with one of our Questar people to get into classes and work with each grade level. And again, the feedback on that has been very positive as well.
Questions for Roy? Questions? So thank you for defining the embedded PD concept, because it is different for folks. So yep, very good. All right, to Mr. Simons.
We held our second attendance committee of the year. We had one back in August to kind of set the stage for the school year and expectations. At the meeting, Mr. Harkin reported out data on the comparison between this year's attendance at this time versus attendance last year. It is markedly improved. I would also say that he reported out the number of students that are tardy this year compared to last year, and that has improved. Not as much as the overall attendance improved, but it is a work in progress. There's a concerted effort among the high school faculty and staff, including the administrators and the social workers. They happen to sit in on one of those meetings where they are actually looking kid by kid at those students that are meeting certain thresholds for being absent, and making plans to reach out to those families, to do home visits, to involve other outside agencies. And that, in addition to just the emphasis on the tone in the building, of making sure that kids continue to understand the importance of being on time, the high school is continuing to work at this. Additionally, there were reports from the elementary school level where things seem to be going generally positively. There's still some perceptions on the part of parents that if they are fear of COVID, but their kids don't actually have COVID, they're keeping their kids out of school. And we're communicating that that is not a permissible absence. Students, even siblings who may have been exposed to COVID in the house, if they don't test positive, they should be in school. We put out some communication this year as well regarding family vacations, discouraging family vacations during school time, to try to do everything we can to reestablish normal expectations for attendance. We expect at the next, probably the second November board meeting, that both the high school administration and the middle school administration will give a report on first quarter attendance and tardiness. First quarter ends next Friday, the 4th. Very good. And that was a pretty short meeting, but a good progress report from our schools.
Excellent. Thank you. Any questions for Jeff? So we'll look forward to that data presentation on attendance and some reasons what's going on, right? Okay. Thank you. All right. Moving on in the agenda, table motions. I have none this time. Old business, board members, anything? I don't have anything. Moving to our consent agenda, items A through G. Any questions or comments there? Yes, Joanne. B for a separate vote. Okay, we still have enough. Okay. Anything else? Right, by consent, items A through G, except for item B, we'll pull that. Need a motion to approve that. Kathleen, second. Joanne, all those in favor? Approved. Going to item B, need a motion to approve that. Kathleen, second. Michelle, all those in favor? All those abstaining? One. Joanne, thank you. Approved. We do have the two addendums that Marissa mentioned. These are like personnel items that came to us after the board, and we have them separately from the agenda. Any questions or comments on the two addendums? I'll do those together if that's okay with the board. Seeing no questions, I need a motion to approve items A and B. Mark, second. Joanne, all those in favor? Approved. Next item is new business. Board members, any new business? No, seeing none. Move to our second public forum. Anyone? Mr. Harkin. Congrats. Let's keep it up. Anyone else? No, thank you. Word forum, we'll start on my left with Michelle. Good. Mark, good. Kathleen, Joanne, Emily, you're good. Okay, and I as well. So we do have need for an executive session for purposes of contractual negotiations and personnel.
We're going to move to our regular boardroom for the executive session.
Very good. We don't anticipate any board business after the executive session. Okay, so with that, I need a motion to move into executive session. Mark, need a second. Kathleen, all those in favor? All right. Have a great night, everybody. Keep us posted, Mike, on that score. And send it to Mr. Simons. And have a great evening.